Happy Saturday.
Oh, don't you dare look back, just keep your eyes on me. I said you're holding back. She said shut up and dance with me. This woman is my destiny. She said ooh, shut up and dance with me. We were victims of the night.
Hello, and welcome to episode 30 of KnitScents. My name is Jan, and you can find me as Jan Ellen RN on Ravelry and on Instagram. We have a Facebook page, which is facebook.com/KnitScents. And we also have a group on Ravelry called the KnitScents Podcast Group. Today is Saturday. It is September 16th. And oh my goodness. I actually literally forced myself to sit down and podcast because I know when things go off the rails in the past, I just stopped and then it just takes forever to get started again. So I'm like, no, I have to sit down and do this and keep going every week. But this week, oh my goodness. It was a typical week, and it had been too quiet here for too long, which I think was part of the problem. Everything was rolling along just beautifully until Thursday. On Wednesday, I had to be in New Jersey, and I had heard wonderful raves about a yarn store in New Jersey called Do You Knit, and I will talk about them later. So we figured that was a perfect opportunity. We were only 20 minutes from the store. So I went and I hit the store hard. I did. It's impossible, I think, to walk in there and not hit this store hard. They just had an amazing selection. I will talk all about it later. But that was Wednesday. On Thursday, and I was making progress on my knitting. I was doing really well, and I'm like, oh, I'm going to have so much to show on Friday. And lo and behold, on Thursday, the wheels came off the bus. I mean, literally, the week just fell apart. It started with an emergency medical thing, and that was all resolved. And when I came home that night, I had the bag of everything that I had gotten at the store on a chair, and I had stupidly left a cup of coffee on the table. It was from Starbucks. It did have a lid on it, apparently in a very bad spot. Now, I don't know if I'm the only person in the world with a dog that is completely addicted to caffeine, but this dog will smoke out coffee anywhere in the house if you've left it unattended and drink it, literally to the bottom of the cup. And she found the cup, nobody was home, and she's already whining because she's in a crate because she's been a naughty dog today, I mean all day. But anyway, she somehow managed to get at that coffee on the table. I don't know how she did it. I don't know how she climbed up, must have gotten on the chair, whatever, and spilled literally the entire contents of that cup, not on the floor. Nothing was wet. There was coffee absolutely no place. The entire contents of the cup went into that bag of yarn. So I come home and I find the empty cup on the floor, and I'm thinking, oh God, I'm going to have a mess to clean. Did I only know the mess I was going to have to clean? To make a very long, sad saga short, some of the yarn was just literally trashed. I had white yarn in there, which actually was the only yarn that actually I was able to wash, and it came completely clean. Everything else was completely trashed. So I was so literally upset, and I knew I had gotten yarn to knit actually it wasn't even one of Andrea Mowry's patterns, but I did end up getting for that. But the upshot of it was that Andrea Mowry, who is the designer of Find Your Fade and all the fade patterns, and is doing the mystery knit along right now. She's a new pattern out, which I will have to look up. I don't remember what it was, but at any rate, she is actually teaching at the store this weekend. So I knew there was going to be a hot run on a lot of the colors and a lot of the yarns, and I didn't want to wait. So I ran yesterday back to the store, and it was a 7-hour trip altogether because of traffic. It should be an hour and a half from my house. The whole trip was 7 hours. So needless to say, this has not been one of my better weeks, but I did make some progress. So since this is a knitting show, let's jump in and we'll talk about what I did get and what I salvaged, what I've made some progress on, and I actually even have a finished object. So I'm actually going to stop for a moment to go get my iPad, which I didn't bring down because I do want to show you one of the patterns that is on my to-do list. So I will be right back. I'm back. And I think I'm reasonably pulled together. I apologize in advance if this episode is completely more disjointed than usual because, like I said, I'm kind of like not all wrapped together myself right now, which is not an unusual state for me, but this is like super unwrapped. Anyway, let's start with what I'm working on with whips. So first off, my poor Desert Vista Dye Works socks. I said I wasn't going to do this, run it to the last minute, and famous last words. So I have gotten some progress done. This is my first sock. So I am knitting these with a true afterthought heel. So I have to knit, I think 13 inches before. I have to look. I did take notes. But I think I need 13 inches before I start the toe. And then I need to do the other one and put in the heels. So that's all I've done. I have gotten some progress done on it, not a lot. But in all fairness, I was really working on other things and sort of wishing that these would get themselves done. They obviously didn't. This is out of Desert Vista Dye Works. It's Here Comes the Zombride. And I love these colors. I love them. I love the way it stripes. And like I've said in my last podcast, when I see this white, the natural color with the striping, that's my favorite. So I really love the colorway and I'm enjoying knitting on it. But again, it didn't get too much love this week because I was kind of a little obsessed with other things. So that's one work in progress. The other thing that did get some love, and it's over here, is my Find Your Fade. I really want to, at this point, push to get it off the needles because I have a bunch of other stuff that I want to put on the needles. So we are on, oh Lordy, I've got balls of yarn all over the place. Okay, all right, this must be color 3 that I did not label. So into the bag it goes. I am on to color 4, which fell on the floor. So I've done the fade. Last week I was on the last few rows of the lace part with color 3. So I got that finished, and let's see, this is the right side. So I was up to here about. I got that done. I faded into color 4, and that's what I'm up to now. And I'm literally, I think, on the last row, if not the last couple of rows of garter, and then we'll go into the lace with color 4. So that's where I'm at with the Find Your Fade, and you can see it's getting bigger. And I think now, or at least when I finish the garter, which, like I said, I think I'm there. I think I'm there. I think I'm at the end of this garter row, and I believe it's 245 stitches, and it will stay at this width, scrunched up on the needles, but it will stay at this width. And from this point on, the increases will cancel out the decreases. So this did get some love, and I'm really enjoying, pet hair doesn't count, I'm really enjoying this colorway. It's gone from the gold that I started with, the pollen, and picked up some of the purples, gone into the lighter with still the gold, and now we're really into the true oranges with the pops of the burgundy, which is what we will end up with. The last color is going to be a very dark burgundy. So you can see already where we're heading into the darker colors now. And each section is using up more of the yarn. And fortunately for me, the first section, which is the pollen, used the least amount of yarn, and you will see why that will become important later when I discuss my tale of woe. So that's where I am at my Find Your Fade. It's really an enjoyable knit. I'm really enjoying the fading thing, so I probably will do something else with that, but finding colors for me is a big challenge. And again, like I said, when I went to the store, I had a lot of help picking colors. And then I had to do it all over again. But I digress. So that's the second thing that got some love this week. It would have gotten more until the wheels came off the bus. And then the final thing was, I mentioned in my last podcast that I had uncovered a sweater that was missing, and I didn't even know. I knew I had 3 skeins of Wool Mice DK in green. Could not find the skeins, was looking for something else in my closet essentially, and ended up finding not only that I found the skeins, but that it was pretty much already knit up into a calligraphy sweater. So I showed it on last week, and I was very happy with the fit. The body is finished. I think I had last week, it was all bound off, and it was just on holders for the sleeves. So this week I picked up for one of the raglan sleeves, and that's what I've been working on. And I don't even think I'm up to the decreases, although I will show you. I watched several videos, and I wish I knew which one, because I would link it below. If I'm able to find the one that I used, I will link it. When I pick up stitches for armholes in particular, I always end up with holes, and they drive me crazy. And I've tried picking up extra stitches, and that doesn't always help, but this particular video that I was watching, and again, I will try to find it and link it, showed how to pick up the stitches to really, really minimize the holes. So that's where I picked up. And again, you can see there's like little tiny holes. I'm not going to obsess over it. This one here, that's the loose yarn. But I did pick up, I'm really happy with the way that came out. So I did have to decrease. I picked up 2 extra stitches on either side, and then decreased those both on the 2 following rounds. And so I've started on one of the raglan sleeves. And again, like I said, I just started my third full skein. I only had 3 skeins. And it's 400 and something yards, close to 500 yards per skein. So theoretically, I should have more than enough to finish the sleeves and do the button bands on here. But I'm thinking, just in case, I may end up ripping the sleeve back and just leaving it a 3/4 length sleeve, which is fine with me. But I did get some progress done on it. I was able to start the sleeves, and I decided to magic loop it. I've done sleeves on double points. It didn't work out well for me. I've done them on 2 circulars. That didn't work out well. So what I did was I got an extra long magic loop, an extra long cord. And that seems to be working really, really well. And I have the center well into, it's not on the edge of the needle. So it's pretty easy to do the increases and decreases. So we're rolling along on my calligraphy, which will hopefully be my Rhinebeck sweater. My intention is to wear it to Rhinebeck without the buttons and buy the buttons while I'm there. that's the thinking at the moment. Whether we're going to actually pull that off or not remains to be seen. So that is pretty much what I have been working on, except for my finished object, which is something I have not shown before because I actually cast this on Sunday after I recorded last week, and I finished it last night, and I steam blocked it this morning and seamed it. And what it is, I cannot even pronounce this, and I'm not even going to try to butcher it. I just, that's the name of the pattern. I'm not even going to attempt to say it. And this is what it looks like. So it's sort of a poncho because it's not, it doesn't look like this in the back. And I'll get up and show you in a second. It's actually knit as a rectangle. And then it is seamed over here. Now, the pattern I don't even think is available on Ravelry. I know it's an exclusive pattern. It's one of the patterns that you get when you join KnitScents. And KnitScents 2.0 is an online virtual summit that is hosted by Loops yarn store in Tulsa, Oklahoma. And I will put the information below. I don't know if there are still openings, if you are still able to sign up for it. I do know that as of this morning there was a wait list available. So if you are interested in it, you can put your name on the wait list for it. And what it is it's 10, I believe, instructors this year. They did it last year. I did not sign up for it. I did not participate. It's 10 instructors, and you get basically a seminar with each one of the instructors. And I don't know if it's every day over 2 weeks or something to that effect, but I believe it's over 2 weeks. And along with that comes several free patterns which are already up, and then each instructor will give you patterns from their class or their seminar or whatever it is they're teaching. And there are exclusive yarns that you can purchase. And as it turns out, I tried to find the yarn to make this one in the same yarn. Now, you can see this if you look at the promo on loops.com, I believe is the website. Or if you just Google KnitScents 2.0, it'll come up. And Shelly, who is the owner of Loops Yarn Store, is wearing this poncho in the promo, and I saw it on her and I was like, I need that pattern. So I tried to find the yarn that it was knit in because I loved it. I just loved the one that she had. Could not find it anywhere. I actually reached out to the manufacturer. It is a yarn by Knit Collage. I believe it's called Silken Sequins. Couldn't find it anywhere. And they said that they thought that Loops had it. I called the store, they didn't. Turns out, I think that's one of the exclusive yarns because I was able to find a place on Loops where I could pre-order it. I don't know how I did it, but I was able to pre-order it in the same color, which is like a blush color that she's wearing it in the promo. So if you want to see the original one, go and look at the promo, and that's the original yarn that it was designed and knit in. So I still had to do it. So I needed to come up with something that was a worsted type weight. I wanted the sequins. So I went stash diving actually. So that was a really good thing. And what I ended up using for mine was one skein, and I didn't even use the full skein. I used Madeline Tosh sock, and I happened to have this. This was really from pretty deep stash. It was in the colorway Isadora. I had 2 skeins just in case. As it turned out, I probably could make a second one because I had 2 skeins of those. I still have left over. And what I did was I held it together with this yarn. There we go. Which is a white. It is a mohair yarn. It is, let's see, I believe it's just kid mohair. Super kid mohair with kid paillettes, which is the French way of saying sequins. Go figure. Now, I purchased 5 skeins of this because the yarn store owner told me that she can't get any more, and I had no idea how my gauge was going to come out, and I didn't want to take the chance of running short. Turns out I have 2 full skeins left over, and this much, which maybe half. I'll actually probably weigh it if I try to use it on another one. But I did have left over from the 5. So 3 skeins of it is what I'm saying. If you can get your hands on it, is more than enough. And what I did this morning, you knit it, it comes out in a rectangle, and then you seam the short end of the rectangle to the long end of the rectangle. And that's what you end up with is, share noise, is this, which I just thought, I loved it. I loved it on her. I absolutely thought it was just the perfect thing when you want something. Now the original, I think the silk and sequins is a combination of silk and linen. So that's more of like a springtime summery knit. And so it wasn't such a bad thing because this is actually merino and the kid mohair combination. But as you see, the back is not the point. The back just comes straight across. And it makes this nice V-neck, and it was super, super simple to knit. So, like I said, I started this on Sunday and was kind of obsessively working on it until last night. I did work on my Find Your Fade a little bit on my socks, but I was determined to finish this. And I love projects that you can, you know, I mean, you can knit hats really quickly, you know, some other things, but when you can knit something like this so fast and you know you're going to wear it a lot and it's going to be something that you really enjoy and can wear with a lot of different things, I love those kind of projects. So I was really, really pleased with this. So that was my finished object, and that was my knitting for the week. Spinning, didn't even go there. Maybe I sat down at the wheel once or twice. Eventually, I'm going to have to get my spinning mojo back and spend some time at the wheel because I do have those 2 projects that I forget, the 3-ply in the pink, I think it was. I don't even remember anymore. And yeah, it was the rose quartz. And then the Into the World, which I'm doing a Navajo ply on, and I'm still trying to just finish the singles. So that is where we are at with works in progress, which brings me to my tale of woe. Again, I did make a trip, 2 trips, to Do You Knit. And Do You Knit is a yarn store in, I believe it's Westfield, New Jersey. And it's owned by a woman named Karen, and I will put in, she was kind enough to take a picture with me right in front of the hedgehog wall of fiber. They have the hugest selection of hedgehog fibers, but they also have so many indie dyers. They have Wool & Vine, what else? I mean, I'll show you as I take them out, and you'll see beautiful yarns, different yarns, a lot of multicolored yarns. So for me, it was really overwhelming because we all know matching colors is not my thing. So when I first went there Wednesday, I went there with the intention and what I had wanted to knit, and what I went there to get the yarn for was, and I'm going to try to bring it up here, was the Shusui Shrug. Don't say that too fast. And it's that. Okay. That's what I wanted to knit. I thought just it being a shrug and being so nice and long in the back. Usually shrugs are very short in the back. And I have one, I don't wear it that often. To me, this is more of almost like a large shawl with sleeves on it. So I think this is going to be totally wearable. And it's brioche, which I love that stitch, and I really need to do more of it. So I went there with the intention of getting yarn for that. And I did. I got They just celebrated their 5th anniversary, so Hedgehog Fibers did an anniversary color for the store, for the shop, and I got 2 of those, and I matched it up with this beautiful deep blue, and if you look, this actually has, I'm going to use this picture because I think it shows it better. You have the 2-color brioche and then a pop of color just for the I-cord border. And I had gotten this like almost electric lime green. And I was so thrilled. I stepped out of my box, whatever. Well, the colors that were completely unsalvageable were the anniversary skein. I did get 2 of them. One of them was the only thing in the bag that was unscathed. The yellow, greenish yellow yarn and the 2 blues, I could not get the coffee out of that yarn. I tried using soap and it was saturated with coffee. I tried washing it. I tried rinsing it out first, then I tried washing it. Then I tried washing it with vinegar. I tried everything, and that stain was just so obvious. There was really no saving that yarn. So back to the store I went, and I am just going to dive in. So I guess we're going to say this is the enabling section. I went heavy. I went heavy, and I went in hard the first time, but by the second time I was so aggravated, I might have added a little bit just to compensate for the aggravation and the fact that it took me 3 hours to get there. It took another 3 hours to get home. I mean, it was just ridiculous. And so I knew I wasn't going back anytime soon. So I figured, let's get it all at once, which I did. So I'm going to go into all of what I got. Yes, it is wool piggery, yarn piggery. No judging here. Judge-free zone for this week because it was a really bad week. So here's what I got. And as luck would have it, some other things did come in the mail too. So I really look like a real big yarn pig. So here we go. This is the anniversary color. This is the skein that was unscathed. It is hedgehog fiber, and she simply called it 5 because it was dyed in honor of the 5th anniversary of the store. And I had, like I said, built my original Shusui Shrug colors out of this. I picked up this dark blue and this electric green, and all was well with the world. That did not work out. The only other thing, this is the skein that suffered. And when I hold it up now to this, I think because it is so variegated, I really do think that it was salvageable. As I said, I did get different colors, so I'm probably going to end up using this in a different project. But I did not toss this skein. I think you can probably still see where some of the staining didn't come out. I may use this in brioche where it may not be too noticeable. I'm not sure. But anyway, that's 2 skeins of the hedgehog in the number 5 colorway. The other thing that I saw while I was there was this pattern, which I went crazy for. It's put out by Big Bad Wool. I don't think this has a name. I'm just looking. Oh, Share the Love. Maybe that's the name of it. Oh, Share the Love. Yeah, actually, I think that is the name of it. And believe it or not, this is actually a really simple knit. And you can see the coffee stains all over the card. Fortunately, the pattern itself is still readable, but you could see this is all white. The blanket is white. It is not tea stained or coffee stained. It's white with these pink baubles. And I had seen this on their podcast. Now, if you have never seen them, it is the Yarn Pimp podcast. And Karen, the owner of the store, also known as the Yarn Pimp, is just a color genius. I don't know if she just has like a color wheel in her head, but she can just grab skeins. And it's funny because in most stores, the yarns are kind of organized by color. Not here. They're all in there. And, you know, when you stop and think about it, it almost makes sense because you're not really locking yourself into colors. You're really looking for things that pick up other colors. So however she does it, it seems to work very well for her. And since I was very happy leaving myself in her hands, it worked. So the end result is that I got the yarn to make that blanket. Now, I think I got 5 or 6 skeins it called for of this big bed wool in the wee packer. This is so soft. It's unbelievable. And it is, what is it? 50% washable merino and 50% baby alpaca. And this is machine washable. For alpaca, that is machine washable. And I can turn it upside down so you can see. There we go. I can totally attest to the fact that it is washable and it does come clean because all of the skeins, except for one, were completely soaked with coffee. You can still see it on the label. I couldn't wash the label, but the yarn this came out right away. As soon as I put it into the water with the soak in it, it washed up beautifully. It came out beautiful. So I did not have to replace these. And what makes the baubles is this yarn, which I thought, I loved it. I fell in love with it. This is Mondo Feel. Let's see if I can, again, O'Share Pink in the same yarn company, Big Bed Wool. So what you do basically is every few rows in the pattern where you want the baubles or where they tell you to put the baubles in, you hold these 2 threads together. And my dog was not satisfied with just having dumped the coffee into it. Oh, no, no, no. When I took everything out and put what was clean aside and took out what was salvageable, she started chewing on the end of the spool. And I was like, seriously? I mean, like, you haven't done enough for one day. You have to chew like one of the few things that I was able to save. So I got this away from her, and now she is nowhere near any of my yarn or projects or anything else. She was banished from there. So that's, oh, here's another skein. So I don't know, what was it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 skeins it called for of the big bed wool in the wee packer, and the 1 skein in, I'm going to just take the rest of this out because this is all from different stuff. The 1 skein of the, I don't know what you call it, but the thread, it really is thread. Actually, O'Share Pon. That's the ticket. And I'm looking, I don't know. I think this is only hand washable. So my recommendation for the blanket, I would probably hand wash it. And I will tell who I'm gifting it to, either wash it in the gentle cycle in a net lingerie bag, or give it to me and I'll wash it for you. It's seen enough trauma in its short life. And over it all goes. Like I said, the wheels are already off the bus. It's too late to salvage this week. Tomorrow's Sunday, a new week. Maybe it'll go better. Let's just get this back in the bag. So I really just left it high up on a cabinet in the 2 bags so that I could show it, and then it's all going in Ziploc bags that are like freezer bags so that I can't do any more damage. Also in the shop, they had these pre-made kits. Do You Knit? It's in their own logo, which sadly did not look like this before coffee. What the heck is in Starbucks coffee? Is it like acid in there? I couldn't believe it. Like, ate through the label on this. It was no way was it coming out of those 4 skeins of yarn. I couldn't believe it. I'm like thinking to myself, I'm drinking this stuff. I'm starting to wonder what the heck is in it. Anyway, in these kits, they come pre-assembled, and they're just little notions kits, and I thought I washed the tin, but it's stuck. I guess I didn't wash it well enough. It's a little sticky still. It's a tin of notions, and this, I gotta ask her what the heck this is, because it looks like you're supposed to peel this off on the top, but the way my luck's been running, I'm not going to touch it. But it comes with a tape measure with one of those thumb counters, which is actually what I was using to count rows on this. I just had it on my thumb. It has scissors in here. I think this, yeah, this, probably shouldn't have even tried podcasting today. I knew it was going to be a hot mess. This actually goes into your phone, and you can carry around. It has a little stitch marker on it, which you can hold other stitch markers on. It's a little scissor, which is great if you're traveling, because these are definitely TSA approved. Cable needles, point protectors. There's actually another scissors in here. There's a really neat pin in here, which I would use to hold stitch markers, but this is a great idea. And here are the other scissors, which are really nice, really sharp, pointed scissors. Like I said, stitch markers. And what I thought was really neat was these are little Post-it notes. Like I said, I don't know if my lights are making matters worse here, but they're little Post-it notes that you can put on your pattern or even on your work to, you know, make notes or whatever and stick them on there. What else? There's something else on the bottom here. I don't know what it is. Oh, yes. There are little labels that say handmade and what it is and how to care for it. So I thought that was just really a nice little tin to carry all your stuff around, throw it in your knitting bag. There's a pencil in there. So that was one thing I got. And the other thing I got, which I actually had wanted to get in my other yarn store and forgot. And again, I think the lid is stuck. Okay, I may not be drinking Starbucks coffee anymore because I'm starting to wonder what the heck is in it. Oh my goodness, this is really stuck on there good. Ouch. Okay, hold on a minute. Well, 3 bottle openers and a screwdriver later. This is what I got. I'm telling you, I don't know. Oh gosh, this is so sticky. Anyway, it is a leather wrist ruler, which I thought was just such a clever idea. I mean, how many times do you need a ruler and you don't have one? I'm actually probably going to be able to wrap this around my wrist 3 times because I have like a ridiculously abnormal wrist. But I just thought this was so cute. So that was what was in there that took me all that time to figure out how the heck to get it out of the container. I got a leather wrist ruler. So I think that was kind of cute. I'm not even going to just stick it over there. Okay, now on to the Shusui shawl, which started this whole mess. When I went back, I had the one skein, and they had plenty of the anniversary skeins. So I had the one skein that I knew I could use, but unfortunately, they were already out of the blue that I had gotten. And I'm trying to see, it was a yarn by Hooker's Corner, which is another indie dyer that they carry that I was not familiar with. So we went a different way. We went a totally different way. And what I got for that project, now let's see, because I got for something else in here. So let's make sure we got the right ones. Okay, this was the other one. So what I ended up getting for the shrug was 2 skeins of teacup. You know, I was looking for the teacup for something else. Anyway, all right. I got 2 skeins of teacup, which actually, you know, I've said it. I love the off-white with the speckled yarns anyway. So I'm just thinking this was maybe, you know, the Elements way of telling me you made the wrong color choice. Go back and pick other colors. That's what we're going to say. So I got that and these 2 fuchsia colors. It's Hooker's Corner, and it's called Temptress is the name of the colorway. So, and I know the lights are washing it out, but you can see, and I'll try to find a spot where you can see it more in this one. There is a lot of that pink in this, and I think this is actually done in brioche, so I think these 2 together will look amazing. So these are the 2 colors that I got for the Shusui Shrug. And what we decided, because you don't really need a full skein, one of the ladies that works in the store, and they are so nice. They could not have been nicer or more helpful or more sympathetic. I mean, they really, really were really nice. I mean, they were pulling out all colors of yarn and really bending over backwards to try to help me, which, if anyone knows, trying to help me is not an easy thing. She had mentioned why not the color pollen, because there is gold in the hedgehog. Let's see if we can find the pops of gold in there. And I'm like, well, as luck would have it, I have pollen at home. It was the first color that I used in the Find Your Fade, so I didn't use much of it. And there was somebody in the store who had knit the Shusui Shrug, and she was saying you do not need even half a skein, and I have more than a half. So that was a lucky break. So these are my colors now, as it stands, for my Shusui Shrug. So let's just take one of each. And I have the fuchsia and the multicolored with the white, which I think in brioche will show up beautifully. And then for the border, and what this is just used for an I-cord border around the entire shrug, is this gold color, which is pollen from hedgehog fibers. So that's my whole saga, my whole trauma. That's going to be a Shusui Shrug. If it kills me, it's going to end up being a Shusui Shrug. So that's some more of the haul. I also purchased there, and this was, oh my goodness, this almost killed me, was this bag. The fabric is exclusive to them, and I think that it's made by Pink Hazel, and I think that's a local bag maker to them. And I liked the size of the bag. I liked that it was drawstring. It still had the handle on it that you could carry it. It does have an inside zippered pocket, and the fabric on the inside coordinates so nicely with the purple and the bees. And yes, this was covered in coffee, just completely covered in coffee. Now, I have had other bags that have gotten stained and had no luck cleaning them. I was very fortunate. This did come clean, and it kept its shape. So for small favors, right? So we got that bag there, and the only other thing that I got was I added on because I love mohair, and that's what's in this, and I love the feel of it. I was knitting that, if you remember that Stephen West Marl knit along, which I actually, the more I think about it, and the more I saw all of those colors blending together in the store, I may actually revisit that thing. I'm not going to give up on that yet. I may actually pick that back up again and go back and take a fresh look at it and see if it's as awful as I think it is. But at any rate, I decided that I was going to knit Birds of a Feather, which is also a pattern by Andrea Mowry. And I hope this doesn't wash out the colors. Now I thought, and it looks to me like it was knit in two separate colors. In fact, what it's knit in is hedgehog fibers in the same colorway in two different bases. And that's why it looks like it's two different colors. They didn't have the one that the original was used in, which I think is Crybaby. I think that's the colorway that was used. But what they did have was Zephyr, the colorway Zephyr. And so I got 2 skeins of Zephyr in the skinny singles, hedgehog fiber skinny singles. And I actually think I really like this colorway more because it's got the black in it, which I really liked. It's, you know, multicolors, but it's got a lot of the white in it. And this is the same colorway on the Kid Silk lace, the hedgehog fiber Kid Silk lace, which is a mohair and 70% mohair, 30% silk. And it's just the way that the different fibers take the dye. And the reason why it looks so much lighter is because these darker sections here are knit with the skinny singles, and these more open sections are knit with the lace weight, I believe held single. So it's actually 2 different weights of yarn in the same colorway. So that's what I did. I got the Zephyr colorway in both the mohair, the really fuzzy soft mohair, and I know some people just don't like mohair, and I get it, but to me, this is not only not itchy. I mean, I've been wearing this thing, and it is not itchy at all. It is so, so soft. So I'm not sure if maybe it depends on the type of mohair that you're using, how much mohair. I don't know that I would wear something that's 100% mohair, but we'll find out with this because some sections will, well, actually, no, this is a blend anyway. 70% mohair and 30% silk. So these are the colors that I got. It's actually one color on 2 different bases for the, whatever it was I said, birds of a feather. I can't even remember. I can't remember my own name. That's the haul from Do You Knit. If I hadn't mentioned before, they do have a podcast, and it's called the Yarn Pimp Podcast. They podcast from the store, and just be prepared to be enabled because it is very hard to watch that podcast and not want to knit all the things. And it's hosted by Karen, the owner, who is K-Paz, and it is also hosted by Danielle, a girl named Danielle, who is just lovely. She's funny. I did not have the chance to meet her. She was not, I don't think she works in the store. I think she lives in the area, and I believe she comes in to do the podcast, and I think enable herself too. If I lived in the area, I'd be living in that store myself. So I think it's a good thing that it's 4 hours away. Otherwise, we'd be eating more ramen noodles than I would even want to shake a stick at. So that was my enabling from my trips to Do You Knit. I encourage you, if you have the opportunity, if you're in New Jersey, it's actually in, I'm going to say central New Jersey. It's not really south, and it's not northern New Jersey. It's, if you're at all familiar with the area, it's maybe about a half an hour off of the GW Bridge, which is in Fort Lee. So if you're familiar with New Jersey, and Fort Lee is kind of like where that hook is, so it's kind of like in the middle. It's a little bit south of there. It's absolutely totally worth the trip if you're in the area. If you happen to be coming into Manhattan, there is an Amtrak train that you can take, and that will take you not too far from the store. So if you are coming into the city, it is still feasible. You can make the trip to Do You Knit, and I highly, highly recommend it. It is a really wonderful store. I could have gone even crazier in there, and trust me, I had to hold myself back. So that was my haul from there, but I'm not done yet. Like I said, this was a lot of yarn piggery this week. And, you know, normally I'd feel like completely guilty that this all came at once, but given the week I had, No, I don't. It made me feel a lot better. I had ordered a skein of yarn from Desert Vista Dye Works, and it is, she had done a contest. I don't remember if it was 2 months ago. I think it was 90s movies. It was movies from the 90s or 2000s, something. I don't know. Anyway, this colorway is called This Is It, and it was inspired by the Michael Jackson movie, This Is It. And I can't even wait to knit this up. This will be my October socks. Love the colorways. It's a rainbow, but instead of like leaning toward a white rainbow, this is leaning toward a black rainbow, which I just went crazy for. So that came. And then to top it all off, I joined this year. Was the first year. I looked at it last year and I decided not to do it. And then I think really on account of how easy this pattern was from Loops and how knittable and how wearable it was, I decided to join the Loops Club. And partly because it's not like a commitment. It's not one of those clubs where you join for the year or you join for 6 months and you have to pay up front. You're not locked into it. Any month that, if you decide you don't want to do it anymore, you don't like it, if within 30 days notice, you're out of it, you're done. And I thought that would be great. I'm going to give it a try. So and I just literally joined at the end of August, and I did get the September club. So what came in the club kit was, first of all, for your first shipment, when you join the club, you get included in your first shipment a Bink Waffle bag. And in case you don't know or I hadn't mentioned it before, I love these. And I happen to love the one that they sent me. So this came, and this is almost, all Bink Waffle bags are reversible, and this is almost in a camel type fabric. So I will likely use this on the dark side out, only because we all know now my propensity to stain things, so it's probably better that I put the dark side out. But all Bink Waffle bags are reversible, and they're the Japanese type style bags, like dumpling bags, where you just pull the loop through and you carry your yarn. And you can leave it in, you can knit right from the bag with it closed, which for me around here is a really good thing. So that comes when you join the Loops Club. You get a Bink Waffle bag with your first order. So that came. And this was the September. If you haven't seen it yet or been online, we're going to give you a spoiler alert. Okay. This is the yarn that came in the September kit. It is Freya. It is an ombre. Freya Fine Hand Paints Refined. And this is their fingering weight. It is 70 merino, 30 silk, and the colorway is Cardinal. How beautiful is that? I mean, that just, I loved it, And I think I put on there, they ask you whether you like brights, I think, whether you like neutrals, things like that. I mean, you really don't pick colors, but what you can do is you can choose one color that you don't want to get, and I think I chose yellow because yellow is a tough color for me to match up with anything. And in this kit, she included beads because the pattern is a beaded pattern. I don't think I can get this open without wearing these beads, but these are actually triangle Miyuki beads. And if you've ever knit with triangular beads, they're beautiful. These are actually look like a clear bead that the center is like a magenta color, like it picks up this color here. But the beauty with the triangular beads is that they have a shimmer without having a shimmer in the bead, if that makes sense. It's not like a sparkle bead. It's not like a gold or silver lined bead. It is just the clear bead with the color in the center, but because of the triangle beads, and you can even see it from here, they give such a beautiful shimmer to whatever you bead with it. So that was that, and it also came with a crochet hook to put your beads on with, which we all know I beaded a lot. God, I'm washing out with these lights. And the pattern, I believe, is called Let It Bead. And I'm just going to show you, without giving away the secret sauce, that's the pattern. So it has, I believe there's beads scattered throughout, and then there's a lot of beading on the edging, which looks like almost like a yarn over kind of picot type edging thing, and there are beads in there. And I think there are several rows where there are beads. Actually, yeah, this is, there's like a yarn over edging here with beads, and then there's another section of the pattern. Again, I don't want to give away the secret sauce, but there is a picot edge on another side of the shawl that's also beaded. So I was really pleased with the pattern. I will knit this, and what they do, there is a group on Ravelry. There's also a Facebook group that you get to join if you sign up for the club. And they offer you alternates. She does the legwork, and she finds alternate patterns if you don't like the pattern. And it comes with a knit and a crochet pattern. And if you don't like the patterns that it comes with, they do offer you alternate patterns that you can use with the same yarn. So I was really pleased with that. I will stick with it for now. We'll see what comes in next month's club. And the funny thing is, I actually believe I have several other skeins of Freya yarn in the ombre, in the fingering. So if I like the shawl, I'll be on the bead hunt, and and I will knit more of them. Hopefully it will be a quick knit. And I know from watching her promos and a lot of what designs that she's done, most of her projects, and that's why I really looked to join the club, is that they're very quick knits, they're easy knits. She's done a lot of bulky cowls, a lot of bulky type shawls, things that are quick knits. They're not really difficult knits, and they're very, very wearable and very stylish. They're very, not old-timey. They're really on trend. So I thought that would be fun. And again, like I said, if this is any tip-off, and this couldn't have been easier. I could have been knitting this in my sleep. It was so super, super easy. So that, I think, brings me to the end. The end. I have no idea how long this episode is, because as usual, it was interrupted a couple of times. But I think that's it. I think I've done enough for 1 week. I'm going to try to remain out of trouble for the rest of this weekend. I'd like it to be quiet, relatively quiet. So before the phone rings or I have any more interruptions or get myself into any more trouble, I am going to mention one more thing that I did forget to mention. We have a contest going on the Ravelry board, the KnitScents podcast group. It's been going on now for about 4 weeks. The contest is for this skein of Desert Vista Dye Works in her War Base in the Patsy colorway. It's a variegated yarn, okay, and it is fingering weight and approximately 490 yards. We've had this contest open for about 4 weeks now at least, and I was hoping to get at least 10 entries, but it's been 4 weeks and I still have 1 entry. So I'm going to give it 1 more week. And next week when I record, I will draw a winner for this contest. So your odds are right now really, really good. What you need to do is be a member of the group, have a friend join the group, and write in the thread who your friend is that you had join the group, and that will enter you. So you just need to get someone to join the group, have a friend join the group. If you have 2 friends join the group, put it in 2 separate posts, and that will give you 2 entries into the contest. So that's all you need to do. If your friend then gets another friend to join, if they post in the group who they got to join the group, then they will be entered into the group. I hope all that makes sense, But again, I was hoping to get 10 entries, but I don't know that I'm going to live long enough to get 10 people. It really is a really nice skein from Desert Vista Dye Works. It's still sealed. I have never even opened this skein. I love the colorway. So trot on over to the group, enter the contest. However many entries there are next week, I am going to close the thread and lock it before I record, and I will choose a winner either with the random number generator or whoever the one lucky entry is in there. I won't need a random number generator. So with that, I am going to say thank you for joining me. Thank you to any new viewers that I may have. Thank you for giving me a shot. And to any returning viewers, thank you for sticking with me. I wish you all a good week. And as always, remember to knit with sense.